So we have the pleasure having with us Eddie, our friend Eddie from Davidoff from London, all the way traveling from London to this beautiful island, Cyprus, to this beautiful hotel, NisseBlu at the Hapanos Lounge. Eddie, welcome to Cyprus.
Thank you very much, Demetrius. Thank you for the wonderful welcome. How fortunate I am to have arrived here yesterday. The NisseBlu Hotel is beautiful. And after dinner, I stumbled into this extraordinary lounge. I mean, I cannot put words to it. What we're used to in London is nothing like this. With the view, with the selection in the humidor, with the space, the entertainment. I don't think I will be leaving. If I can, I will be staying.
You're going to be here for a week anyway.
Oh, for sure. Which is a very good point, Demetrius. I know we're here for an exciting week of events and different elements to it, but the binding ingredient is the Cyprus Whisky Association. Is that right?
It's the 10th year anniversary, as we said earlier, of the Cyprus Whisky Association, and along with Davidoff, we will be having a week of events, a few events here in Cyprus. We're going to have one here in the Hapanos Lounge of NisseBlu next Friday, as you know very well. So we're very excited for that. We have been around for 10 years, also the Cyprus Whisky Association, and we're very happy to have a number of events to celebrate this anniversary we have, and we are very, very glad to have you with us. As the start of the events, coming all the way from London. It's a pleasure, it's an honor.
You're very kind. I'm incredibly humbled. I would never call myself a star, but in this little world of cigars and a bigger world of whiskey, it is a true joy for me to be able to swim in that world. I know we met not that long ago, but we met in London,
yes.
In the shop, if I recall, right?
In the shop in Davidoff, London. Costas, you want to share a few things?
It was two years ago, actually, yeah.
Yes,
when
that's
we
right.
visited with Dimitris London for the World Whisky Awards, because we were judges there. We thought, wow, we are in London, we have to go and visit Davidoff London. So we came to your shop. Thankfully, you were there. We had a small chat there and get to know each other. And we're now privileged to call you as a friend.
Oh, very much.
For the last 2 years. And that's how we actually met.
Yeah, and we visited London again this past year, along with Nikos. And we had the pleasure to treat us well in your cigar lounge in Bulgari Hotel, the Sahakian. Cigar lounge, so thank you very much for the hospitality. So yes, it has been 2 years, and it's like knowing each other for much longer time.
I agree. I feel the same way. You know, of course, we have a cultural connection. As an Armenian, I feel very close to Cypriots and to Greeks in general. This part of the world, we are all from it. So you're right. It immediately felt like we'd known each other a much longer time.
Absolutely.
And this feeling has continued when I've arrived in Cyprus. You know, here in the hotel, in the lounge. So far, everyone I've met, it's felt like I've come home and met my cousins. I just didn't know they were my cousins.
Indeed.
Well, I have something looking at me here on the table.
For some time now.
Yes, it's sort of blinking at me, and I'm very excited to try it, because I understand this is one of the jewels that is sitting in the humidor in the beautiful cigar room in the lounge, which, by the way, I was so impressed. You know, in London, we're quite fortunate. We have a reasonable selection of rare cigars. But in the humidor here, I walked in, every cigar I saw was a jaw-dropper. There were things I have not seen in London yet that were in there. And my compliments to the owner and, of course, to the facility for having such a beautiful selection.
It's a huge cigar lounge. It can host about 95 people. Actually, for the event next week that is taking place here, we have 90 people. So it's going to be full house.
Yes.
It's a huge and beautiful cigar place, lounge, and of course with this view, I don't think you can find it anywhere else.
It's breathtaking. You know, I will never get used to it. I know you see it probably every day almost, but for me, the beach, the sand, the color of the water, the climate. From London, it is incredibly rare, but even if you live somewhere warm, this is still stunning. Very lucky I am here. Well, I'm looking at this and I've heard about it, and I understand it's the Greek spelling of Homer, Homeros.
Omeros.
Is that, please forgive my pronunciation. Sorry, not the Greek, the Cypriot, as we say this. I can see it's a 2022 box, but the story, like many of the regionals of the period, it was originally meant to come out in 2020, I understand. And for obvious reasons, it was delayed. I know that this is a not quite classic, but technically a Robusto. I say not classic because the size is a 54 ring gauge.
54 is the 50, yeah.
The length is almost 5 inches. For those of us on the metric system, I apologize. I am grown up on the imperial system, so for me everything is inches. It's 4 7/8, if I'm not mistaken. Very, very close. And I understand there's 15,000 of these boxes of 10 made. You know, for anyone who's not sitting right here looking at these cigars and smelling them, I cannot explain how beautiful it is. That aroma is stunning. The wrapper is a gorgeous Colorado, slightly oily finish. Of course, the cypress grease band on it, and I'll try and pronounce it in Spanish, Exclusivo Chipre Grecia. I think I've mispronounced it. but may I, well, being from your island, of course, may I trouble you to share it? And maybe we can have a taste of this amazing cigar.
Sure. I agree with you, it smells beautiful.
Thank you. Efaristo.
It looks like a chocolate.
Really stunning. And Sancho Panza as a brand, I should say, is not very commonly distributed or commonly available in regular production, but in regional editions, it has really set benchmarks. You know, it's such a wonderful expression. For me, it's usually medium strength, not too strong, not too light. Some of the very aged Sanchos I've tried have massive aging potential, and most people at the time wouldn't have realized that, but 20, 30 years later, they have aged beautifully. So I'm sure this one is going to be one for the collection as well, but that should never interfere with tasting it now. Are we in agreement?
Why not?
Well,
what do you suggest in terms of cutting it? A straight cut, V-cut, or does it really matter for this cigar?
with that ring gauge, the thicker ring gauge, a V-cut can work very well. I traditionally err towards a straight cut only by habit. But I would say there's no right answer to that. It's your preference. You can even use a wide punch cut, but I tend not to do that. So I would say go purely with what you enjoy. What are you tempted by today?
Personally, V-cut, I don't know.
Yes,
Me too.
then we're
V-cut.
going to go V-cut. Done.
Okay, it's an agreement.
Unfortunately, there's only 2 V-cuts on the table. I left mine behind. Please, please.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Amigos?
Thank you, Eddie.
Pleasure. Now, I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to go with a double V,
I was
Which-
going to ask.
which with this ring gauge is actually very achievable. And really all you're doing is you're turning the cigar 90 degrees and then reapplying the cut. And you get this wonderful, what I call a rose cut or tower cut. There's no official name for it. the only advantage of
We'll
that,
do the same then.
it's stylistic to some degree.
Get jealous.
It does also open up the cigar really well. I mean, you get the advantage of a straight cut in terms of how much of the cigar is open, but you get the coolness of a V cut. And a little bit of the extra depth you get from that.
Now, shall I ask you about the lighting the cigar? Of course, I know that your dad prefers the matches. Of
Yes.
course, it takes time and it's less convenient for us that are not experts. I mean, referring to us. How do you normally light the cigar?
Well, you summarized it perfectly. I am certainly not impatient, but I prefer the accuracy and speed of a single flame turbo lighter, especially with a thicker ring gauge where you have more threshold for making a mistake, let's say. The most elegant way and the most patient and ritualistic way, of course, is matches. And with matches, you probably, with this ring gauge, would need 2, maybe 3 matches to give it the correct light. And in the absence... And a few minutes. But, you know, we're not in a hurry.
Yes.
So, if I may, I will use the matches. Would anyone else like to use the matches?
No, I will just watch. I will use the light I prefer.
What I like to do is prepare the most I would anticipate using in terms of matches, so I don't need to fiddle with the box too much when it comes to lighting the next one. Something I learned to do when I was very young. Start fires. So, of course, in the absence of wind and with time, nothing beats lighting the cigar the old-fashioned way. And what we're looking to do here is just keep it at the top of the flame, the hottest point of the fire, with a slight rotation. And because I'm lazy, I'm going to try and use the lit match to light the next match. Just get it going. Let the sulfur flare off the match. It can add a little unpleasant aroma to the cigar otherwise. You can, of course, use what we call a yellow flame lighter as well, instead of a match. Could be a very elegant Dupont or a very simple Bic. Doesn't really matter as long as it's delivering a yellow flame. And of course, we're using now, almost all lighters these days use natural butane gas, which is non-odorous.
I see you're holding it for a bit of distance. It's just to avoid burning the cigar from the outside, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct. Now, I'm going to use a third match, but I don't think I will succeed in lighting it with the third match. And then I will move on to my lighter. And it's mainly because of the ring gauge of the cigar. So you can see, this is what can happen with matches. You can end up spending, as you rightly said, a couple of minutes lighting it. But it's beautiful.
Eddie, I can see that you avoid putting the cigar in your mouth while lighting it. Is that,
Yes.
is that what is meant to be?
Well, again, my view with a cigar, the first time you're puffing it, the very first, let's call it the virgin puff. For this one, it is best to have full combustion of the cigar, and then you take your puff.
Okay.
And I will just show you exactly what I mean. So as I blow, I can see it's not fully lit, so I'm going to cheat with my blue. And the reason is that first puff is absolutely magical. When the cigar is fully combusted and you're introducing your palate to it, it's the best way to do it. You can, of course, light the cigar more quickly and more efficiently if you put it in your mouth, apply a flame, and puff quickly to get it going. No harm doing that, but you will miss that first exquisite taste, I think, of the cigar. Going forward, once you've lit the cigar and it's gone out and you're relighting, no problem to put it in the mouth and relight. Let's have a look. What is your opinion, gentlemen? What do you think?
It's not our first time, so we know the cigar very well. It's an amazing cigar, and especially as it has developed throughout the years. It wasn't like this initially when we tasted it. I mean, every time we try, it gets better and better. Yeah.
What a magical first puff on this. You know, in general, with a thicker cigar like this, even if it's relatively short, your palate has plenty of time to enjoy the flavor without the heat and the, call it the spice that you can get from a thinner ring gauge and a shorter cigar. So I'm just getting pure, cool flavor from the smoke. A little bit nutty. By the way, I should say now, in case anyone is expecting more detail, my palate is quite unsophisticated, truthfully. I can tell you I love a cigar or I don't, and I can tell you certain flavors. There's a few, probably 6, 7 flavors that for me can be identified easily in a cigar. But I've never had the skill of the sommeliers who can pick up all the nuances that they get from wine, you know, the apricots and the old boot leather and so on. But there are some certain characteristics that come through. For me, in a younger cigar, you're certainly looking at some of the more immediate notes, peppers and spices. In this case, a little bit of that wonderful sort of coffee-ish, cocoa-ish flavor. But
light chocolate for me.
yes,
You know, what you're saying is very nice because many of us, I mean, we smoke a cigar like a whiskey, we enjoy a cigar, but we feel a bit guilty, I would say, because we don't pick up every detail that is written on the box. So what you say, it's normal. We shouldn't worry that much. Yeah.
yes, very much. That's my opinion, and it's often forgotten that what is a cigar? You know, a cigar is years of time, hundreds of pairs of very skilled hands, the most magical ingredients of Mother Nature, all combined to really deliver something that is half an hour, maybe 2 hours of pleasure.
Yeah.
And the pleasure is personal for each and every one of us. And no one can tell you what your pleasure should be. And never should you feel that if you are not picking up certain notes or flavors in a cigar, and you are in any way diminishing the wonder of that cigar. It's whether you've enjoyed it. And if you walk away saying, I love that cigar, but I only tasted one flavor of smoke, no problem.
It's okay.
Of course, absolutely.
And sometimes tasting is also personal. Maybe I pick up some notes, you pick up something different. And I think as with whiskey and whiskey tasting, it's basically based on the experiences that you had from child, smelling and tasting different things. So some things are, of course, subjective to the individual.
Well, I'm pleased you mentioned whiskey, because in the world of whiskey, our positions are absolutely the opposite. Not that you are a novice in cigars, but in the whiskey world, I am a novice. And I feel like I'm in the hands of some wise teachers. Perhaps some of the students of Homer felt the same way, or Socrates. You are my teachers with whiskey, so I will very much lean on your knowledge this week, and can't wait to try some of the extraordinary bottlings your association has put together.
We have them all together. We have 10 bottlings up to now. Yeah, single cast strength, all of them, and they fit very well with whiskey, with cigars. Whiskey and cigars for us What is your opinion? I mean, talking about whiskey, what is your opinion about pairing cigars? Not necessarily only with whiskey. Some people enjoy pairing with rum. Other people enjoy it with champagne. Sometimes cognac, of course, and sometimes us like it, enjoying it with sparkling water. I mean, in general, I mean, is it a specific way you go, or again, is what you like and what you prefer?
Very, very good question. And I again have the philosophy that it's very subjective. It's not just a philosophy, it's a truth. Each palate is different. And the moments when you are tasting can deeply affect your palate, its sensitivity, what you've eaten before, and how it responds to what you're smoking and drinking. So with that in mind, there's no correct answer. I defer to the Epicurean approach. What gives you pleasure is what is valuable. So each person's palate can be excited by different pairings. So for me, each person has their own approach to tasting, and it should really be what they enjoy. I love whiskey. I love the spirits when I'm tasting. I love sweetness in my spirits because I find they're complementary to the flavor profile of a cigar. I have clients who love overlap, so they'll go with an Islay, something peaty, smoky, and really very much overlapping. There's no right answer to that.
It could be the time of the day as well, or your personal mood. Sometimes you enjoy with whiskey, another day maybe with champagne, or even with water. So, I mean, from experience, I mean, this is how I feel. I mean,
Yes,
yeah.
I completely agree. So, what is this magic that has appeared on our table?
Exactly. Since we're smoking a cigar made for Cyprus and Greece, what a better way to pair it with our 10th anniversary bottling from Cyprus distillery, Aristides, which is limited to 238 bottles.
The first single malt in Cyprus?
It's the first single malt, single cask that was bottled in Cyprus for our association. And
it's purely 100% from Cyprus ingredients. So the barley and everything, it's Cyprus-based, distilled in Cyprus, matured in Cyprus in ex-bourbon casks.
It's an ex-bourbon cask, yes.
I like
Although the color,
Thank you.
the color is equivalent to a sherry cask. This is an ex-bourbon cask, and the reason we get this color is the weather we have in Cyprus, and the high temperatures that gives a very big impact of the wood to the spirit inside.
Ah, that's fascinating. I know a little bit about rum, and I know that rum that's been aged in the Caribbean versus rum that's been aged in, let's say, more European climates is quite distinct.
Yes.
And I think it must be a similar process then.
Kostas, can you tell us a few things about the alcohol? Can you mention the ABV?
If I had my,
May I?
glasses,
I can be your glasses for you
yes,
if you like.
please.
So I can see on this, this is bottle number 50.
Over here.
The ABV is 60.9%.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's the cask strength. It's exactly what the cask gave us. No chill filtering, no water added.
Actually, we bottled it. I mean, we were there when Jim Murray came for another event we had.
Oh.
We bottled it together. And I mean, it's straight from the cask. I mean, no filtering, no anything added. I mean, it's as natural as it can get.
That's beautiful. And I can see only 238 bottles were made.
Yes. And they disappear instantly.
And what moment did you go, this is ready to bottle?
Exactly. Actually, we were following this process with Aristides, the owner, when he distilled the spirit and he put it in 3 different casks. So every couple of months or every 6 months, we used to go to the distillery and try the spirit. We knew it was young in the beginning, but it was very promising. So as we were trying the spirit inside, and also as we were trying the whiskey, we realized the last time we went there that it was ready to be bottled. And that's 4 years. We've been doing this for 4 years.
And he only had 3 casks.
And he only had 3 casks. Every time we went there, we used to try all 3 different casks. And to be honest, from the beginning, when we're trying the casks, we chose this particular one. And as we were trying it every 6 months, we again chose the same cask, and it was blind tasting. I mean, sometimes we did this trick, trying it blind tasting, not knowing which cask it was. So we picked this particular one.
So we decided that this was the one.
That's it.
Therefore, we bottled it a few months ago for the 10th year anniversary of the association, and it's something different. I mean, when you do tastings, you try to say to people that every cask is different. So you shouldn't be expecting anything specific to come from that cask. I mean, it's a surprise. I mean,
Yes.
Hopefully a positive one,
Yes.
sometimes the negative one. This one is a fantastic whiskey, by the way, but you try and you expect something completely different from the barrel next to it. So,
Well, gentlemen, may I take this opportunity to toast you, your very good health, this wonderful, wonderful lounge, wonderful setting, your beautiful island, and to a week of merriment and pleasure. I cannot wait to taste this.
Enjoy.
It's beautiful.
a very long aftertaste,
Oh,
and you don't really feel the 61% ABV.
no, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I'm picking up the
The spices
little
in the
bit
end.
of the spice, the bourbon personality. We have a cask we bottled, which is ex-bourbon as well. And even at a relatively different age, it's still a lot of the personality is there. That's beautiful. Is this sold out?
It
It is
is.
sold out.
Oh no.
But I will bring a bottle for you. That's a promise. I will
Thank
give
you.
you from my personal collection.
You are extremely kind. Thank you very much. I have to say, it works beautifully with a cigar.
It's amazing.
So clearly this is what happens in Cyprus, right?
Yes.
Everyone makes beautiful whiskey and spends their days smoking cigars. Is that right?
We wish.
I'm moving here.
You're definitely coming again.
Thank you very much. Well, what can I say? What a beautiful introduction for me to this amazing week. And there is an amazing beach out there. There's a wonderful swimming pool. There's a view to die for. But I will happily spend my afternoon sitting here, smoking and drinking.
In this beautiful cigar lounge.
Thank you very much. And thank you again to the NisseBlu for having us in this beautiful space. Looking forward to a fantastic week. Gentlemen, to the week.
Slide as the Scottish are saying.
Yeah, well done.